I still remember the sound of her heels clicking on the floor of my small apartment, sharp and cold, like nails on glass. My chest felt tight, but I forced a smile. "Sit down, Lena." "I made tea," I said, holding out the chipped cup. She glanced at it and laughed. "That's all you ever have to offer, isn't it? Tea in a broken cup." Her words stung, but I tried to stay calm. "I don't have much now, but things will change. I'm working hard. Just give me time." She scoffed. "I've given you years. Look at this place." She waved her hand at the peeling wallpaper, the second-hand sofa, the flickering bulb above us. "It's pathetic." I clenched my fists, swallowing the lump in my throat. "It's not perfect, but it's ours. Or at least, it used to be." "No," she snapped, eyes flashing. "It was never mine. I'm tired of waiting for a future that doesn't exist." "You dream big, but dreams don't pay rent." "Lena, don't say that," I whispered. My voice cracked, but I pressed on. "I love you. That has to mean something." She stared at me, and for a moment, I thought I saw hesitation, but then her lips curled into a cruel smile. "Love doesn't fill my closet or my stomach. Do you even see the holes in your shoes? You can't even buy yourself new ones." I looked down at the worn leather. Shame burned inside me, but I forced myself to meet her gaze. These shoes carried me to every job I could find. They may be worn, but they remind me I'm still moving forward. "That's your problem," she said coldly. "You think suffering is noble. I think it's pathetic." I took a step closer, desperation rising in me. "Please, don't throw this away. I'm building something, piece by piece. I just need you beside me." The door creaked open, and Adrian walked in without knocking. His expensive cologne filled the room, choking me. He looked around with a smirk. "So this is where you hide. No wonder Lena wants better." I glared at him. "You don't belong here," he chuckled. "Neither does she. Look at her, she's meant for more than this rat's nest." "Adrian, stop," I snapped. "This isn't your place to." Lena cut me off. "No, he's right. Adrian shows me the life I deserve. He doesn't ask me to wait for dreams that may never come." My stomach dropped. "You're leaving me? For him?" She tilted her head, almost pitying. "I already have." I felt the ground shift under me. "Lena, you swore. You swore you'd stand by me." Her laugh was sharp. "I swore when I believed you had a future. Now, I see the truth. You'll never be more than this." Adrian slipped an arm around her waist, pulling her close. "Come on, Lena, he'll never understand. Some people are born to lose." I stumbled back, shaking my head. "You don't know me. I'll prove you wrong. I'll prove both of you wrong." Lena's eyes softened for a heartbeat, then hardened again. "Don't waste your energy. Prove something to yourself, not to me." "Don't go," I begged. My pride screamed at me to stop, but my heart wouldn't listen. "Please." "I can't," she turned, already walking toward the door. "Goodbye. Maybe when you're rich, you'll understand why I left. But by then, it'll be too late." The door slammed behind them, echoing through the hollow apartment. I stood in silence, the air heavy, my chest burning. My knees buckled, and I sank onto the sofa. My hands trembled as I pressed them to my face. "She left," I muttered into the darkness. "She really left." The fridge hummed softly in the corner, half empty and mocking. My shoes sat by the door, torn and tired, just like me. I thought of all the nights we had dreamed together, the promises whispered in the dark. They meant nothing now. Anger fought with sorrow in my chest. I wanted to hate her, to erase her from my heart. But instead, tears spilled onto my palms. "Why wasn't I enough?" I whispered. No answer came. That night, as I lay on my thin mattress, I swore to myself, this pain would not break me. It would shape me. I would rise, even if it killed me. But beneath that vow, another truth gnawed at my still loved her, and I hated myself for it. The days after Lena left felt like one long night. Hunger gnawed at me, sleep mocked me, and her words echoed louder than my own heartbeat. Mark knocked on my door 3 days later, his voice muffled, Open up, man. Don't make me kick it down. I pulled the door open. He stepped in with a greasy paper bag. You look like hell. Here cheap noodles, but better than starving. I tried to smile. I'm fine, fine. He gave me a look. You've lost weight in 3 days. Sit. I sank onto the sofa, and he shoved the container into my hands. Eat, he said firmly. I pushed the noodles around with the chopsticks. It doesn't fix anything. Nothing fixes heartbreak overnight, he muttered. But starving yourself won't help either. You think Lena's losing sleep over you? His words cut, but I needed them. She laughed. Mark. She laughed at my shoes, at my fridge, at me. I begged her to stay, and she walked out with him. Mark sighed, leaning back. She's blind. You've got heart, man. That counts for more than Adrian's wallet. I clenched my jaw. Doesn't feel like it. He stared at me, his eyes soft but heavy with something I hated to see. You'll rise again. I know you will. I shook my head. You don't believe that? Not really. He didn't answer, just grabbed the empty container when I stopped eating. Call me when you remember who you are. Then he left, the silence swallowing me again. The next morning at work, my boss's voice sliced through the office. Are you deaf, or just useless? I said copy those reports, not stare into space like an idiot. I mumbled, sorry, sir. He rolled his eyes. Every day you come in looking worse. Do me a favor, leave your personal drama outside. Or better yet, just leave. Laughter rippled through the office. I kept my head down, shame burning hotter than anger. My hands shook as I finished the copies. Every sound the whir of the printer, the tap of keyboards felt like mockery. By the end of the shift, my chest ached like fire. I walked through the streets with no destination, my stomach empty again. My feet carried me to my mother's cramped apartment. She opened the door, her face lighting up. My boy, come in. The smell of lentil soup wrapped around me. She touched my cheek gently. You've gotten thinner. I tried to hide the truth. I'm working a lot. She looked into my eyes, and lies melted away. No, you're hurting. She guided me to the table. Eat. I held the spoon, but couldn't lift it. Mom. Lena left. Her eyes softened. I know. My throat tightened. She said, I'll never be enough. That I have no future. She reached across the table, holding my hands. Listen to me. The world will try to break you, but you can't let it. You were born with more strength than you know. Tears stung my eyes. I don't feel strong. You don't need to feel it to be it, she whispered. Just keep standing. Her words wrapped around me, warm and steady. For the first time in days, I breathed without pain. I stayed the night, lying on the couch while the city hummed outside. My mother's words repeated in my head like a prayer. Don't let the world break you. Staring at the ceiling, I clenched my fists. Lena's laughter won't be the last thing I hear when I close my eyes. That night, I swore her cruelty would not define me. I would rise even if it killed me. The warehouse smelled of dust and cardboard. I hauled the last box onto the counter when 2 men walked in, suits sharp, voices low. Funding's open, one whispered. This startup could double in a year. Risky, but the market's hungry. The words caught me like a spark. I froze, pretending to rearrange the shelves while my ears strained. Investors will fight for it, the other replied. Early birds could make a killing. My pulse quickened. I didn't even know what they were talking about. But something in me stirred something that refused to die. When I got home, I dropped onto the floor with my old laptop. The screen flickered as I searched everything I could. My fingers flew, scribbling notes on scraps of paper, filling pages with numbers I barely understood. Hours passed. The clock struck 2, then 3. Mark barged in, holding a soda can. Are you building a time machine, or losing your mind? I rubbed my burning eyes. Listen, I overheard 2 guys, today's big businessmen. They talked about a startup opportunity. It's real, Mark. I think this could be it. He looked at the mess of papers. You look like a mad scientist. Where's your lab coat? I laughed. The first real laugh in weeks. I'm serious. I know nothing, but I can learn. Look, I shoved my notes at him. He squinted. Half of this looks like math homework. And you barely passed algebra. Don't mock me. I'll figure it out. I have too. Mark sighed and dropped onto the chair beside me. If you're jumping into this, I'm in. At least to keep you from setting the house on fire. The next day, I scraped together my savings. It wasn't much, but it was everything I had. Still not enough. So I walked into the bank, hands trembling, and signed for a loan. Mark whistled when I told him, "You really did it. No going back now, I know." My voice shook. If I fail, I lose everything. He clapped my shoulder. Then, don't fail. But failing was exactly what I did. The first shipment arrived late. I miscalculated costs. Customers backed out. Money slipped through my fingers faster than I could earn it. Mark tried to joke, "At least you're learning what not to do." I wanted to laugh, but fear drowned everything. I lay awake at night, staring at the ceiling, my chest tight. The walls of my tiny apartment felt smaller every day. One evening, after another disastrous meeting, I sat alone in a cafe, drowning in numbers I couldn't balance. An older man in a grey suit slid into the seat across from me. "You look like someone wrestling with the world," he said calmly. I blinked. "Do I know you?" "No. But I've seen you here before, always scribbling, always frowning." He smiled faintly. "What's your name?" "Daniel, Mr. Hayes," he said, extending his hand. His grip was firm, steady. "Tell me, Daniel, why are you burying yourself in papers?" I hesitated, then poured it out, the overheard conversation, the loan, the failures stacking higher than my hopes. He listened without interrupting, eyes sharp but kind. When I finished, I slumped. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. He leaned back. "Do you know what separates success from failure?" "Money." I muttered. "No. Resilience." His voice was quiet but heavy with truth. "I've watched talented men collapse because they lacked patience. I've seen ordinary men build empires because they refused to quit. Which one are you?" I swallowed hard. "I don't know anymore." He tapped my notebook. "You have persistence. That's rarer than talent. But you need guidance." "Guidance." "Yes. I'll teach you if you're willing to listen, and to work harder than you ever have." Hope flickered where despair had lived. "Why me? You don't even know me." "Because I see a fighter hiding under all that doubt," he said simply. I leaned forward. "What do I have to do?" He smiled. "First, stop panicking over mistakes. Every one is a lesson. Second, learn to adapt faster than your fear. And third, never let anyone, not even yourself, convince you that you can't." His words sank deep, heavier than any lecture, sharper than Lena's laughter, warmer than my mother's whisper. That night, I sat with Mark again, papers spread across the table. "I met someone today, Mr. Hayes. He's different. He wants to mentor me." Mark raised a brow. "Mentor, like Yoda?" "Not exactly. But he knows business. He believes I can make this work." Mark smirked. "Finally, someone else crazy enough to join this circus." I grinned, though my hands still shook. For the first time, I think I'm not just chasing smoke. Mark lifted his soda can. To not burning the house down. I lifted my coffee cup. To not giving up. As we clinked, I realized something had changed. The hunger, the fire, the ache, they hadn't disappeared. But they had direction now. For the first time since Lena left, I felt the faint sprout of something I thought was gone. Hope. The pen trembled in my hand as I stared at the dotted line. My name looked small beside the bold letters of the company across from me. "Go on," Mr. Hayes said gently. "It's just a signature, not a death sentence." I swallowed hard. "Feels like both," he chuckled. "That fear. Good, it means you care." I signed. My hand shook the whole time. When it was done, I sat back, staring at the ink as if it might vanish. "That's it? I'm in." "That's it," the client said, shaking my hand. "Congratulations." After they left, Mr. Hayes leaned closer. "This isn't the end, Daniel. It's the beginning." Don't celebrate till long work waits. Still, I couldn't stop smiling. For the first time, the weight on my chest didn't feel like failure. That evening, Mark barged into my apartment, holding a six-pack. He shouted, "Our boy's officially a businessman." "Barely," I said, grinning. He shoved a can into my hand. "Barely counts. Drink." I popped it open. Cheap beer for a priceless moment. He raised his can. "Exactly. 2 small victories," we clinked. Foam spilled onto the floor, but neither of us cared. Mark wiped his mouth after a long sip. "Remember when you couldn't even pay rent?" I groaned. "Don't remind me. Now look at you," he said proudly. "Signing contracts, making money, still broke, but with style." I laughed. "Don't jinx it. This deal could crash tomorrow. Then you'll build another. That's who you are now." I looked at him, the words sinking deeper than I expected. "You really believe that?" "More than you do." The next morning, I told my mother. Her tiny apartment smelled of detergent and warm bread. "Mom," I said, handing her the papers, "I signed my first contract." She squinted at the pages, then looked at me. Her eyes shimmered. "You really did it?" "Yes." She pressed the papers to her chest, tears sliding down her cheeks. "I always knew you would." I hugged her, inhaling the familiar scent of her worn sweater. She whispered into my shoulder, "Don't let this world harden you. Success is good, but your heart matters more." I pulled back, nodding. "I'll remember." But that night, lying alone in my bed, her words clashed with the ghost in my mind. Lena's face, her laugh, her voice, saying, "I had no future." I pressed my palms against my eyes, groaning. "Why can't I stop thinking about you?" My chest tightened. I hated that, even after my first win, my mind still wandered to her. Did she ever regret it? Was she happy with Adrian? The thought made me sick. I sat up, whispering to myself, "Do you want her ruined, or do you want her back? Which is it?" The silence answered nothing. Days turned into weeks. Work grew heavier, but so did the war inside me. Mark noticed first. "Why do you look like you haven't slept in a year?" he asked one evening. "I'm fine." "Liar. You're doing better now, but you look worse." "Spill it." I hesitated, then admitted, "I still think about her." "Lena." His eyes darkened. "You've got to be kidding me." "I don't want to, but I can't stop." "Do you want her back?" "I don't know." "Then do you want her destroyed?" I swallowed. "Sometimes, both, neither. It changes every hour." Mark leaned back, shaking his head. "You're fighting a ghost. She's not here anymore. She chose him. Remember?" "I remember," I said bitterly. "I remember every word." "Then let it fuel you," he snapped. "Don't let it chain you." I dropped my head into my hands. Easier said than done. Mr. Hayes saw it too. "You're distracted," he said during a meeting. "I'm managing." "No," he said firmly. "Your numbers show improvement, but your eyes don't." "What haunts you?" I hesitated. "Someone from my past." He studied me quietly, then said, "Listen, a man can build an empire, but if his heart stays chained to yesterday, he'll still live like a beggar." His words cut deep. I whispered, "I don't know how to let go." "You don't let go," he said. "You carry it. But you carry it forward, not backward." That night, I sat by the window, city lights flickering outside. I whispered into the dark, "Lena, you left me to rot. You laughed at my pain, but I won't let you be the last voice in my head." The anger twisted with longing, an endless knot I couldn't untangle. Still, beneath it all, I felt something shift, not peace. Not yet, but strength. And for the first time, I believed I could fight both battles, the one in business, and the one in my heart. The hum of voices echoed in the networking hall, polished floors reflecting chandeliers. My suit felt stiff, but for once it was mine-tailored, not borrowed. Mark nudged me. "Relax, you look like a CEO already." I tugged at my I feel like an imposter. "Good," he said, grinning. "Means you're still hungry." I managed a laugh, then froze. Lena. She stood across the room, Hand looped around Adrian's arm, a diamond bracelet catching the light. Her smile hadn't changed, but the clothes screamed wealth. Mark followed my gaze. My chest tightened. Why here? Why now? Because life's a comedian with bad timing, he muttered. Don't do anything stupid. I couldn't look away. She noticed me eyes flicking across the hall. For a second, recognition flickered. Then she tilted her head, lips curling into a smirk. Adrian leaned down. She whispered. He laughed, loud, deliberate, the kind that carried across marble floors. My fists clenched. Mark hissed, don't. I forced my jaw to relax. I'm not doing anything good. Keep it that way. I exhaled slowly, turning from them, pretending to study the buffet table. The scent of champagne and roasted lamb filled the air, but my appetite was gone. Still, Mark kept pressing. You okay? No. You want to leave? I want to win. Later, while shaking hands with a potential investor, I caught Adrian's booming voice nearby. Lena, did you see that guy's suit? Looked like he rented it from a funeral home. She laughed softly. Maybe it's the best he can afford. Heat rushed to my face. I forced my smile tighter for the investor. Mark whispered in my ear. They're baiting you, I know, I muttered. So don't bite. I bit down on my tongue, instead. At the bar, Mark slid me a glass of water. Why not confront them? Get it over with, because I won't give them the satisfaction. Then what? Just stand here seething. I stared into the glass. No. I'll let time answer for me. Mark studied me, then nodded. That's colder than I expected. I like it, but then she walked past Lena, close enough for her perfume to pull me backward in time. She stopped. Oh, Daniel. Her tone was casual, like she'd stumbled across an old acquaintance. I met her eyes. Lena. Adrian smirked beside her. Didn't know they let small businesses into events like this. I forced a polite smile. Didn't know arrogance was on the guest list. Mark choked back a laugh. Adrian bristled. Careful? I held his gaze. Always. Lena's smile widened, but it didn't reach her eyes. Still sharp with words. But tell me, are you sharp with numbers yet? My jaw tightened. Sharp enough to be standing here on my own name. She tilted her head, mock sympathy in her voice. I'm glad you're surviving. I repeated. Yes, she said sweetly. Not everyone gets to thrive. Adrian laughed again, too loud. Come on, love. Let's not waste time. They turned away, her laughter floating behind like poison perfume. Mark muttered, I could have punched him. I wanted to, I admitted. So why didn't you? Because they expect it. They want me to explode. That way, they win twice. Mark clapped my shoulder. Then what's your move? I sipped the water, swallowing the burn of my pride. I walk away. And next time we meet, she won't be laughing. The rest of the evening blurred handshakes, business cards, fake smiles. But every laugh I heard twisted into hers. Every toast became his. Back home, I dropped into my chair, loosened my tie, and stared at the ceiling. Her face lingered. Her smirk. Adrian's laugh. I whispered to the dark. Enjoy it while you can. My chest ached, but beneath it, something hardened, not defeat. Resolve. The ghosts of my past had returned. But this time, I wouldn't run. I'd build. I'd fight, and when the day came, I'd make sure the laughter wasn't theirs. Daniel, contracts don't wait for sleep, Hayes said, sliding the papers across his desk. I rubbed my eyes. I've been up to nights already. Then you're finally working like the rest of us. His grin was sharp. Now sign. Opportunity doesn't care about your pillow. I signed, my hand shaking slightly. Mark clapped me on the back. Look at you. Real deals, not scribbles on napkins anymore. Feels unreal, I admitted. Get used to it, Hayes said. This is only the beginning. Weeks blurred into coffee cups and late nights. Mark teased, you're gonna burn out before 30. I'll rest when it collapses. I shot back. Or when it flies, he countered. And it did. Steady contracts stacked into something bigger, and with Hayes steering me. I felt less like a dreamer, and more like a fighter with a plan. One morning, Hayes said, "Time to expand, hire people. Hire." I blinked. I barely pay myself. "You want to stay small? Or you want to scale?" Mark leaned in. "He's right. You can't do this alone forever." I sighed. "Fine. But they'd better be worth it." That's when Sarah walked in. Crisp blouse, eyes sharp as glass. She shook my hand firmly. "I've read your model. Your projections are sloppy." I raised a brow. "That's your opening line. You don't need flattery. You need someone who sees the cracks." Mark snorted. "I like her already." I crossed my arms. "And why should I trust you?" "Because you're working 12-hour days and still missing deadlines. With me, you won't." Hayes chuckled. "Hire her before she hires herself somewhere else." I hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, you're in." A week later came Tom. He shook my hand nervously. "Sir, I don't have a degree, but I'll work harder than anyone you've met." I studied him. "Why us?" "Because you remind me of me," he said simply. I couldn't argue with that. "You start tomorrow." With Sarah and Tom, the office felt alive. Sarah drilled me with deadlines. "Daniel, you can't promise delivery in a week when it takes 10 days. Clients hate lies." I groaned. I was being optimistic. You were being reckless. "I'll fix the schedule," Tom piped up. "I'll stay late if it helps hit the deadline." Sarah sighed. "That's not the point." "But..." "Fine. Just don't burn out," Mark whispered. "Boss, you've built yourself a family." For the first time, I almost believed it. But success attracted shadows. Over lunch, Sarah rushed in, phone in hand. Adrian tried blocking the Wilson deal. He called in favors. Mark cursed. Of course he did. I clenched my jaw. "What did he say?" Sarah read from her phone. "He called you the poor boy playing businessman. Said you'll vanish in a year." Tom slammed his fist on the desk. "He doesn't know you." Mark leaned forward. "So what's the move? You want me to confront him?" "No," I said firmly. Sarah frowned. "Then what?" "We stay calm. We finish Wilson's project better than anyone expects. That'll be the answer." That night, Mark sat beside me while I reworked proposals. "You're serious, huh? No revenge, no drama." "Revenge wastes time," I muttered, flipping pages. "I'll let results do the talking." He studied me. "That's new. The old you would have swung fists. The old me lost. This me won't." At the next meeting, Wilson himself frowned at the paperwork. "Adrian says your company's to green. Why should I risk it?" I met his eyes. "Because green grows fastest. And we're not here to play, we're here to deliver." Sarah added, "Our timeline is leaner than his. And unlike Adrian, we don't outsource blindly." Wilson looked between us, then finally smiled. "All right. Let's see if you can keep that promise." When he left, Tom grinned ear to ear. "We did it. We did it." I breathed. Mark whooped. "Take that, Adrian," Sarah smirked. "Calm wins, Daniel. You're learning." I exhaled, my chest lighter. Every setback, every insult it just adds fuel. He thinks I'm playing businessman. Let him think. I'll turn the game upside down. Hayes, standing in the doorway, gave a rare approving nod. "Now you're talking." The office buzzed into the night. Sarah scribbling, Tom hauling files, Mark cracking jokes. Hayes watching silently. I leaned back for a moment, listening to the hum of keys and voices. This wasn't survival anymore. This was something real, and with every deal Adrian tried to choke, every sneer he threw my way, I found myself smiling harder, because I wasn't folding. I was rising. The morning sun spilled over the roof of the mansion. My mansion. I stood in the driveway, keys heavy in my hand, unable to believe the gate opened for me. Mark whistled low. "Daniel. Marble floors, chandeliers. You sure this isn't a movie set?" I smirked. "Check the deed if you don't believe me." He slapped my back. "I believed you the day you borrowed $10 for takeout. Look at you now." Inside, my mother traced the wall with trembling fingers. "My son, you did this. All those nights you came home with red eyes. They weren't wasted. Mom, don't cry, I said softly, though my own throat tightened. Let me cry, she whispered. I never thought I'd step into a place like this. Mark spread his arms wide. Dibs on the guest room, or should I just move in permanently? I laughed. You'd eat me out of the house in a week. Worth it? He grinned. Guests arrived, laughter filling the halls. I walked from room to room, pride swelling with each compliment. For once, I wasn't the poor boy begging to be noticed. I was the host. The man who built this with his own hands. Then I saw her. She carried a bucket and cloth, head bowed, moving quietly along the edges of the room. Her hair, once shining, now dull and tied back. Her shoulders bent under a weight I couldn't see. My heart stumbled. Lena. The word left my mouth before I could stop it. Her head jerked up. Her eyes widened, then flickered with shame. She froze. I stepped closer. What? What are you doing here? Mark followed my gaze, his smile fading. No way. Lena's lips trembled. I'm working. I stared at the mop in her hands. Working here. She swallowed. Yes. I clean houses now. The room seemed to shrink. My chest ached with memories the night she laughed at my fridge, the day she chose Adrian's arm over mine, and now she stood in my home, cloth shaking in her grip. Mark muttered, Karma's got a sense of humor. I ignored him. Lena, after everything, you show up here like this. She bit her lip. I didn't know it was your house. The agency sent me. I almost walked away when I saw your name on the paper, but... Her voice cracked. But, I need the job. My mother approached slowly, eyes narrowing. This girl. She's the one. I nodded stiffly. Mother's face hardened. The one who left you broken. And now she cleans your floors? Lena lowered her head. Please. Don't. My fists curled. Do you remember what you said to me? You have no future. That I'd never be more than a boy with empty pockets. Her tears spilled. I was wrong. I laughed bitterly. You tore me apart for being poor. And now? I gestured around. Now you're scrubbing marble I paid for. Mark leaned in. You want me to throw her out? I shook my head. No. Let her speak. Lena's voice shook. Adrian left. He used me, then tossed me aside. I have nothing. No home, no money. Nothing. Now you know how it feels, I said coldly. She covered her face with her hands. I thought I wanted comfort, security, but all I got was emptiness. Daniel, I see you now. You became everything I mocked. Silence stretched. The guests whispered in the background, watching but not daring to interrupt. My mother squeezed my arm. Son, don't let her steal another piece of you. I breathed deeply, steadying the storm inside me. Lena, I don't hate you anymore. But I'll never forget. She dropped to her knees, tears hitting the polished floor. I don't want forgiveness. I just wish I hadn't laughed. I wish I hadn't walked away. Mark shook his head. Regret doesn't pay the rent. I turned to him. Mark, enough. Then I looked down at Lena. Her hands clutched the rag, as if it were her last lifeline. She was trembling, broken, and for the first time, I felt no hunger for her, no fire of anger. Just a hollow ache. You wanted a mansion, I said quietly. You got one. Only not the way you dreamed. Her sobs filled the silence. I turned away. Finish your shift, then go. Daniel, I didn't look back. You laughed when I begged. You don't get to beg now. That night, long after the guests had left and the music faded, I stood alone in the grand hall. My footsteps echoed against marble, but I felt none of the pride I had hours before. Mark's words replayed. Karma's got a sense of humor. Maybe so. But as I stared at the spotless floor Lena had scrubbed, I realized Karma's punch didn't always land sweet. Sometimes, even when you won, the victory left a scar. The silence after the party was heavy. I thought Lena had left, but when I walked into the study, she was there sitting on the edge of the sofa, face buried in her hands. Why are you still here? My voice came out sharper than I meant. She lifted her head. Her eyes were swollen, streaked with tears. Because I can't walk out, not like this. Not without telling you the truth. I crossed my arms. Truth. You already gave me your truth years ago, remember? You said I had no future. Her lips trembled. I was blind. I was foolish. Adrian promised me the world, but he only wanted to use me. He took everything, my savings, my dignity, my years. Then he left. Just like that. No goodbye, no mercy. I said nothing. Her words echoed in the room, but my heart stayed still. She leaned forward, desperate. Daniel, I know I don't deserve it. But please, please, forgive me. I shook my head. Forgiveness. You laughed when I begged you not to leave. You didn't just walk away. You crushed me. I loved you, she whispered. I still love you. I never stopped. The words hit me like a knife. For a moment, my old self stirred the boy who lay awake wishing she would come back. My chest tightened, and I hated how part of me wanted to believe her. Don't, I said, voice low. Don't say that, but it's true. She fell to her knees. Daniel, I chose wrong. I thought wealth would bring happiness. But look at I've lost everything. I see you now, stronger, greater than I ever dreamed, and I just want to be by your side again. Mark stepped into the doorway. His eyes flicked from her to me. He leaned close, whispering, Don't forget who you are now. Don't let the past drag you back. I swallowed hard. Lena, you say you love me. But do you love what I've become? She sobbed, clutching at my sleeve. Does it matter? I'm here now. I want you back. I pulled my arm free. Yes, it matters. Because I loved you when I had nothing. And you threw me away like trash. You didn't love me. You loved comfort, security, and when you lost them, you came crawling back. She shook her head violently. No, that's not true. It is. My voice cracked, but I didn't waver. If Adrian hadn't left you, you'd still be on his arm. You wouldn't even remember my name. Her tears fell faster. I regret it every day. Daniel, please. Just give me a chance. Let me make it right. My mother's voice filled my memory. Don't let the world break you, son. I stared at Lena broken, begging, trembling in the house she once swore I'd never have. For years I dreamed of this moment. I imagined revenge, cruel words, or maybe even forgiveness. But standing there, I realized I didn't need either. I already had everything. You want to make it right? I asked softly. She nodded quickly, hope sparking in her eyes. Yes, anything, just say it. Then stand up, I said. She blinked. What? Stand up, I repeated. Because kneeling won't change the past, and it won't change who I am now. Slowly, she rose to her feet, wiping her face with shaking hands. I stepped back, keeping distance between us. Lena, I don't hate you anymore. I don't even wish you pain. But love, that part of me is gone. You buried it yourself the day you laughed at my poverty. Her lips parted, but no words came. I continued, steady now. I don't need revenge. I don't need you to suffer. Look around, this is my answer. This life, this house, the people who stayed with me. That's my revenge. That's my justice. Mark crossed his arms, a faint smile on his lips. Lena's shoulders slumped. So, that's it. That's it, I nodded. You wanted to break me. Instead, you made me stronger. But we're done, Lena, forever. Her tears flowed again, but this time she didn't beg. She just whispered, I'm sorry. Before turning toward the door, I watched her leave no anger, no longing, just a strange calm. When the door shut behind her, Mark exhaled. You handled that better than I would have. I don't need to fight her anymore, I said quietly. He nodded. That's because you already won. Later, alone in the quiet, I thought about the boy I used to be, the one crying on the floor of a tiny apartment. Wondering why he wasn't enough. That boy would have clung to her, forgiven her, begged her back. But I wasn't that boy anymore. I was the man who rose from her betrayal, And as I stared out the window of my mansion, I knew the truth. My victory wasn't in her tears. It was in my freedom. Her sobs echoed against the marble as she clung to me again. Her fingers dug into my sleeve like claws, refusing to let go. "Please," she begged, voice breaking. "Don't shut me out. I know I don't deserve it, but I can't lose you like this." I looked down at her, eyes red, lips trembling, desperation dripping from every word. For years, I imagined this moment, imagined her crawling back. Now it was real, but it didn't taste like victory. It felt hollow. "Lena," I said, steady this time. "You chose your path. And I chose mine." Her head shook violently. "No, I chose wrong. Don't say it like that. Don't end it like this." I pulled my arm free, stepping back. The distance felt like a wall she couldn't climb anymore. "It already ended the day you walked away. You just never noticed." She covered her face, muffling her sobs. "I thought I was chasing happiness. But Adrian, he was poison. He ruined me, drained me, left me with nothing." "I know," I replied. My voice carried no pity. "And now, his empire's collapsing. Haven't you heard? His partners are abandoning him. Investigations, debts piling up, karma's doing its work without me lifting a finger." Her hands dropped, eyes widening. "You knew. I didn't need to know. Men like him always fall. It's only a matter of time." She swallowed hard. "So you won't crush him yourself?" I shook my head. "I don't need to. Watching his world burn without my hand in it, that's enough. Just like standing here, seeing you realize what you lost, that's enough." Her tears ran freely, streaking her face. "Enough for you, maybe. But for me, it's torture. Every second I see your face in my mind, reminding me of the man I threw away." I stayed quiet. Her words couldn't reach me anymore. "Daniel," she whispered, stepping closer. "Can't we go back? Can't we start again?" I looked her straight in the eyes. "Back to what? To me begging for your attention while you dreamed of someone richer? To me being a shadow while you smiled on another man's arm? No, Lena, there's no going back," she gasped, clutching her chest like my words were knives. "I still love you. Doesn't that mean anything?" I almost laughed, not out of cruelty, but disbelief. "Love. If you truly loved me, you wouldn't have traded me for gold. You loved security, comfort, status. And when all of that crumbled, you remembered my name." Her mouth opened, but no defense came. Just silence. "You don't love me," I said firmly. "You love what you lost. And that's not enough anymore." Her knees wobbled as she whispered, "Then what do I do? Where do I go?" "That's not my question to answer," I replied. "Your choices built this road. Walk it." She collapsed onto the sofa, sobbing into her hands. For a second, I almost reached out. Old habits die hard. But then my mother's words echoed again in my head. "Don't let the world break you." I took a breath, steadier now. "I don't hate you, Lena. I don't even wish you pain. But I don't need you anymore. Not your apologies, not your tears. I'm free of you." Her cries grew softer, like she knew she had no more ground to stand on. I turned toward the glass doors. Sunlight spilling through. Beyond them, my garden stretched wide, green, alive, full of voices. Laughter floated in, my employees sharing jokes as they set up tables. My mother's humming drifted from the kitchen, warm and familiar. That was my world now. That was my peace. "Daniel." Lena's broken voice followed me. "Please. Don't walk away." I paused at the threshold, glancing back one last time. "I already did, Lena, years ago." Her sobs filled the room as I stepped into the garden. The air smelled of fresh earth and blooming roses. Children of my workers chased each other across the lawn, giggling without a care. A few of my men spotted me and waved. "Boss, you're finally out." One of them joked, "We thought Lena would keep you locked in there forever." I smiled faintly. "Not anymore." They laughed, and one handed me a glass of tea. I accepted it, the warmth grounding me more than her tears ever could. "Everything all right, son?" My mother called from the kitchen window, her hands dusted with flour. Everything's perfect, I answered. And for the first time in years, I meant it. Mark strolled over, smirking. So, she's gone. She leave, I said. Whether tonight or tomorrow, she knows this isn't her place anymore. He raised his glass. About time. You're finally breathing without her shadow. I nodded slowly, watching the sunlight bathe the garden. The boy, she mocked, the one crying in the dark, was gone. What stood here now was a man who didn't need her tears to feel whole. I took a sip of tea, feeling peace settle in my chest. No anger, no longing, no revenge burning inside me. Just closure. The final chapter of Lena in my life had been written not with her forgiveness, not with her love, but with my freedom. And as laughter echoed through my home, I knew one thing with certainty. The story that began with her betrayal ended here. Not in pain, not in hatred, but in peace.